Hi, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Almaz Negash. I'm always grateful to you for participating, whether it's early time in the West Coast or afternoon in the East, and probably evening somewhere else around the world, and especially on the continent of Africa. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of ADN. We do this every year to connect with all of you and reflect on the year that's about to end and the year to come. And so I am so grateful on behalf of the board, the team, the funders, and the community we serve. I really am thankful to all of you for believing in this cause and for being a part of it, not just only as a funder, as an advisor, as a board, as a community member, but also really as participants in this whole effort, the journey that we call bringing African diasporans and Friends of Africa together. We've done this for 14 years at ADN, started very small in 2010, just really local people in the Valley, try to find meeting places from one place to the other. But generosity of this community is just immense. And today, 14 years later, when I reflect, I think that our bet on each other, that we could actually really come together as Africans and Friends of Africa, was actually true, and it was a good bet. We do come together, we work together, we collaborate. And we started with a program called African Diaspora Investment Symposium in 2016. And then out of that program, we ended up also creating the Builders of Africa's Future, the Impact and Innovation Forum, the Accelerating Black Leadership and Entrepreneurship. We start to really launch new initiatives like the telehealth, which really went very well. And then we did our job and we move forward, and then we have other new initiatives to announce. But our effort to really galvanize the diaspora on beyond remittances has become something we started as an initiative in 2022, is now an integral part of our strategies. We will discuss a lot of these things with you as we go through this 1 hour together. But I also wanted to make sure that we hear your voice. We hear you. We do get your feedback, and we try to do the best we can to make it work. When we walk you through the our annual impact report, you will be able to see how we use the money, how we use your time, how we use all the resources we get to ensure that we are supporting the very community that you entrusted in us to support. We will have voices from the Accelerating Black Leadership and Entrepreneurship Program, the Builders of Africa's Future, so they can share about the kind of impact that they're making in their community, not what we've done for them. It's actually what they're doing through the lessons that they've learned and the connections that they've made at ADN and how they are supporting their communities. So I am starting this day with tremendous gratitude. It's also the Thanksgiving month in the United States, and I wanted to say happy Thanksgiving to all of you who celebrate this with the United States, and to everyone around the world. So thank you so much. Can I just say that I think the ADN board members are the most engaged, the most passionate, the most generous people I know. I know this because we just finished our board retreat just about less than 2 weeks ago. And I was there just thinking how lucky and blessed I must be to have this kind of opportunity to work with people who care. And I am so grateful to all of you. So I will ask with our own Rick, he's a member of our board, but also a resident of Silicon Valley and an incredibly human being. So I want to ask you, Rick, I always send notes to the board. I update you on everything we do as much as I can, but I wanted to hear what have been your favorite ADN milestones this year?
Thank you, and good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everybody on the call. That's a hard question for me to answer, so I'm going to give two answers because I think there are two things I want to highlight. One, I passionately believe in the power of entrepreneurship to make the world a better place. You empower, you grow one entrepreneur, and you impact the lives of 1,000, 10,000, maybe 100,000 people. And so the ADN programs from the Builders of African Future, the Accelerating Black Leadership and Entrepreneurship, the Young African Leaders Initiative, all are programs that this year have impacted the lives of entrepreneurs. And that's just a very meaningful milestone to me personally. But then the other one is ADN has really grown into a catalyst in the industry. So separate from helping entrepreneurs get their start, the Gates funding for the African Scientific Committee, the innovation fund that we're doing with Myriad, those kinds of things really take ADN as a player in the industry and a catalyst for other people's change, because ADN can't do everything, but catalyzing the change for other people is what really impresses me. So those are the two answers.
Thank you so much, Rick. I know we have a long way to go to fulfill all our vision, especially our strategic direction for the next few years. But yeah, these are really wonderful impact this year, and they will continue to make an impact, and we will work hard to make sure they do. Omolayo, can you share a few? Omolayo is our Director of Programs and Operation at ADN. So I'm going to ask Omolayo as well, since she oversees the programs, just to want to see what are the kind of impacts have we made this year. I know we will share the report, but if you could briefly just share a few things.
Of course. Thank you, Almaz. So yeah, no, I think similar to what Rick said, it's really hard to choose one thing just because of the breadth of work that ADN does. But in all of our work, there's always that focus on entrepreneurship, innovation, and especially social impact. And so one of the impact that I wanted to highlight that ADN has done this year is the pitch competition that we held at ADIS 24. So a few months before ADIS 24, one of our ADN champions was like, "Oh, you guys should have a pitch competition." So we worked with a few people to, pull off this this initiative, and it's not one that we've done in previous years. Of course, we have our entrepreneurship programs where we take entrepreneurs through, a training program, and they get a pitch day at the end of the program. But this time around, we wanted something short that was just going to be contained at ADIS. And so we opened it up to our network, let them know we're going to do this pitch competition. We had over 100, almost 200 applicants, and we had really great people who volunteered to help us review. And we were looking for entrepreneurs who are focused in the climate change sector, because that was the focus of ADIS 24 this year. And so we boiled it down to 3 people, had them send their pitches for ADIS to be presented at ADIS. And then at ADIS, the audience got to vote on which pitch should win the 10,000 prize that we were doing for that competition. And so the winner of that prize was Jolis, who runs this company called the Wiga Company, and they are a company in the circular economy, ensuring that they turn what would be waste products into like reusable materials, and so they make reusable packaging. And so I had a chance to chat with him recently about what they've been able to do with the competition, with the prize money, and he was telling me about how they've been able to expand their production, and it's made people in his community more excited about sustainable business solutions, and it's allowed them to just hire more people and really make a change in his community. And so I think for me, while it's like, okay, ADN's impact is Jolis's ability to win that competition, but that further impact of him being able to then turn around and share that growth with his community, I think like that's really where the ripple effects lie, right? And so that was one of my favorite things that we did this year.
Thank you. Yes, we have more to do, but that's wonderful. It's wonderful to hear. And I'm glad the ripple effect is actually really what matters. Josh, because I really, really take advantage of you every time I have a chance, especially for the East Coast. You've been representing us not only as a chair of the board of ADN, but also just as a diaspora and really making sure that we actually forge partnerships with different organizations and different people. I wanted you to just highlight a couple of those that stand out for you, and we can talk more about others, but I think it would be wonderful to hear from you. What are the few that you were able to enjoy and that you see opportunities for ADN?
Yeah, thank you, Almaz. First of all, good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everybody. It's great to see everyone from around the world joining us. I think if I take a step back, which is why does ADN exist? And the reality of it is what we want to do is to mobilize the intellectual and financial resources of the diaspora, whether it's into the continent or into the communities that people are at. Building those strategic partnerships and innovative programs becomes important. How do we make ADN become a catalyst for the changes we wanted to see in the continent and in the communities where we have the diaspora communities, and not just the diaspora community, but also Friends of Africa, people that are interested in doing something in Africa. So a lot of our programs have been to build those partnerships based on and the vision that we have for ADN. And definitely it's been a very busy year. Rick mentioned, for example, the partnership we continue to build with Marriott Foundation. For people that are not familiar, that's the old King Bedouin Foundation in New York City. We've had quite a bit of programs. We're about to launch a program called the Innovation Fund. This is funding which will be sponsored by the diaspora community to go into for-profit, nonprofit startups. So it's almost creating a fund in collaboration with the Marriott Foundation that the diaspora would contribute and participate in, so that there's future opportunities, not only to give seed funding to startups, but also the diaspora community learning about startups in the continent and be able to participate in the future on their own investment. That's an incredible program that we're excited about. I think you're going to see a lot more of it in 2025. But also as the Marriott Foundation, during the UN General Assembly Week, we did have a side meeting with the NBA Players Association. There's an incredible opportunity that's happening because there's a significant diasporans that actually play in the NBA or played in the past in the NBA. We had two players, one from the Knicks. I mean, we had a lot of people there from the Knicks at the dinner and at the reception that we hosted. But at the same time, the programs that are being put in Africa. So there's a player in the Knicks right now who's originally from Nigeria, who's putting some programs in Nigeria. There's an ex-player from Ghana, and he was talking about how he decided to do a clinic for small kids, and he was expecting maybe about a dozen kids. Over 1,300 kids showed up to learn about basketball, to join the clinic. And I think this is a program that will continue to build not only what's happening here in the diaspora community, but also to make sure that that gets extended into the continent. I think Rick mentioned a little bit about the Africa Scientific Collaboration. This is something we're launching right now with the Gates Foundation. It's a 5-year program, which we believe that it's going to continue, but it's more scientists that are focused on health research within the continent can be coupled with scientists and diasporans that are actually doing similar research outside the continent. And we're working with the Gates Foundation. We have an incredible who's who in the scientific community that's partnering with us to build this group, this committee, in order to enhance and accelerate some of the research that's happening in the continent. We hosted a program in New York City. There's just so many things that are going on with the Rhodes Scholars. There's an incredible number with Oxford University and the Rhodes Scholars that is an Africa-based Rhodes Scholars program. We hosted our first session in New York City. There were quite a few Africans that actually, and that program is being expanded through Oxford University. And I think you're going to see more and more partnership between ADN and the Rhodes Scholar program. Partnership with Prosper Africa, partnership with, by the way, for people that are not familiar, Prosper Africa is through the State Department. which is to help startups and investment into the continent, where in some cases there's opportunities to guarantee and build resources behind it, to build some knowledge behind certain things that companies and entrepreneurs need in the continent. And finally, I think the one I would highlight is also, we just had a meeting with the Africa Development Bank. We think that there's just an incredible opportunity to continue. When we think about beyond remittances, Africans are sending over $90 billion. And I always make the comment that that's just what is counted, not the money that friends and families carry for their other friends and family into the continent. So that number is over 90 billion today, which is what's reported. We think it's probably double that amount in terms of how much the diaspora community sends to the continent. But how do you make it more sustainable? How do you make it to build that beyond remittances, which is to make it much more community-based, so that it's helping more to become more sustainable? And we think that the African Development Bank can play a significant role, and this is a partnership that we're building to continue to enhance and simplify that process. I know there's a lot I could go on, but I think this is probably a good place to stop.
Josh, I'm having fun, so I'm gonna stay with you. I think people would love to hear more. So, okay, we're doing a lot of these partnerships, but I also wanted to hear from you just briefly. How would you like the ADN network to grow? How did it grow this year? But then, what is it that we need to do for the coming year to ensure that we don't get stagnated? Because this is not, it's not a linear thing. It just we really need to continue to improve. So just briefly what your input is, what you would like to see happen.
Yeah, and I think if you think about the African diaspora community, the people that actually join us at ADIS, things like that are already in the network within ADN, we have roughly close to about 15,000. Those are the people that are just much more engaged. There's probably closer to 40,000 people that come in and out. We think that number needs to be significantly bigger, because the diaspora community is a very large community. I think in the US alone, it's probably upwards about 2 million. So we think that there's significant opportunity. And it's not because people are not joining because they don't want to do something, they're just not aware. I think just creating awareness is the #1 priority that we have, to make sure that people actually learn about ADN, people learn about the community that exists. And a good example to that is I recently attended, actually, it's at the French consulate, a program called Colors, which are startups in the beauty industry that are based either in the US, in Europe, in Africa. It was actually hosted by the consulate, by the French consulate. And it was really interesting how many people didn't know about ADN. And I think we need to make sure that there is that network that continues to expand. And I think we're looking at using LinkedIn and other mechanisms to continue to build. So my ask of all of you that are on this call is that tell your friends, tell them about ADN, tell them to join our LinkedIn network, our newsletter. I think that's the starting point. The second piece is, as we put these programs in place that we're talking about, so for example, the Africa Scientific Collaboration, we have incredible scientists, health workers, and others that are engaged within the US that are doing a lot of different things. They all want to do something in the continent. They all want to, you don't have to go back to the continent to help. And we're trying to build this collaboration that could exist. And I think that's going to continue to be important, but we need everybody engaged into that. And I think you're going to hear more about the ADIS 2025. It is the 10th anniversary. We're hosting this in Washington, D.C. This is the first time we're taking it out of Silicon Valley into Washington, D.C. And I think this is strategically very important, because we want to engage government officials, private corporations. As we do that, we also want the diaspora itself to be a big part of what we're doing. And I think that's very important, that we continue to expand this network. And I think you're going to see us do more and more to create awareness and a specific ask of people in the scientific community, in the financial sector, in the manufacturing sector, that kind of just start engaging people in all of that.
Thank you so much, Josh. That's a lot of things coming our way and your way too. You know, we have no shame of asking you to participate, to come. Rick, you always send a note saying, I can't believe you do all of these things with the very limited resource, just so that people know. I get this ask all the time. How many people work for you? And I'm like, oh, really? Only we're about to be even full time 7 people, and everybody else is a contractor. And in fact, over the last few weeks, few months, we've been working with 6 people alone, and we're about to onboard our 7th full time person. So how? Give us your spiel about how does ADN make these things happen. I shouldn't be the one saying this, so it comes from you.
And it's very appropriate since I'm sitting in the middle of Silicon Valley. But you know, creativity is really driven by having a problem to focus on and a set of constraints. And limited resources is just a constraint. And if you look at the things that have come out of Silicon Valley over the years, from Hewlett Packard starting in a garage, Facebook starting in a dorm room, that constraints actually help drive the creativity. And there's a long history of that. But we also have, and Almaz, you need to close your ears for a minute. We have a secret weapon, which is we have Almaz, and she was selected as one of the 101 unsung heroes of Silicon Valley. And it's not that she does the work of 12 people, which she does, but more importantly, she sets the culture of ADN. Her drive, her passion attracts people and a staff with drive and passion and competence. And so the organization that she is modeling and the culture that she is building, pick your metaphor. I'm sure I'll miss cultures about, you know, some sports metaphor, but hitting above their weight, appearing much bigger than it is. And so that's the greatness. You know, drive, passion, creativity are the magic elements. Resources it's just the food that helps the organization grow. And so sometimes when you're hungry, you're more creative in how you get things done. And so it's a wonderful thing to watch.
Thank you. I feel very fortunate to do this job. Really, it's a privilege. And I'm grateful to all of you. I just want to say that I think one of the greatest gifts probably that God gave me is I have no qualm asking for help. I ask for help all the time. And I'm grateful to all of you for giving me back your support. So thank you, Rick. Omolayo, what are the milestones we're looking forward in the new year? And then how can the network participate?
I'm mostly excited for ADIS 25, if I'm being very honest, because it's going to be in DC this year. I grew up in the DMV, so it's really like a homecoming for me. So I'm very excited, and I hope that the network will be excited as well, because it's a homecoming for all of us, an opportunity to think about how we come together, how we go beyond remittances. Even the title of this year's ADIS 25 is around, you know, leveraging the diaspora to go beyond remittances. So it really is a homecoming for all of us. And I'm looking forward to the ecosystem events that we're going to be having around ADIS 25. And then I'm also looking forward to the other ways that we're going to be able to support more youth and entrepreneurs as we work together to build not just what's going to happen at ADIS 25, but what that's going to look like beyond. So we have some very exciting plans for what ADIS will look like in the future. So I'm looking forward to working on that with all of you. And I think the best way to get involved is just to continue raising your hand to let us know what you would like to work on. A lot of the things that we do aren't possible without everyone in our network sharing about it, letting their friends know, inviting other people to come along, because we are all stronger together.
Thank you so much, Omola. Yes, I am also looking forward to ADIS 25. Can I just give shout out to the DC community? As we speak, again, I told you this, I have no fear of asking people for help. We have about 14, 15 DC champions really are part of the organizing committee. And when we met with them last week and also yesterday, they all said, okay, what do you want me to do? Can I do this? And the ball is rolling, and I really do not know where it will end. It's just going to be an incredible opportunity for all of us to get together. So it's just back to all of you for everything that you do to support us. Rick, what are the things that ADN is planning or needs to do to improve? I mean, we're not perfect. We're not even close to that. What are the things that we need to do to improve the organization?
You know, they're really two things. So organizations are living organisms, and they're learning, growing organisms. So I think there are two things. One is we need to be very introspective as what's working well, what's not working well, and improve on what we're doing. And that comes from a series of measuring our impact and understanding what we do. And then the other one is awareness of the context in the world. How is the rest of the world changing? And what worked for us last year may not work in 2 years, and vice versa. There may be new opportunity as much of the rest of the world realizes the potential of the continent of Africa. We might need to step up in a different way. So both being introspective and self-aware as an organization and being world aware are really the two key aspects to our growth.
Wonderful, thank you. Josh, finally, what kind of resources do we need, and how can people get involved and support ADN? One of our greatest challenge, can I just say this? We don't have a lot of unrestricted funding to really strengthen this organization. And I think it's about time we all support each other to make sure that this sustains, not because we're doing the good work that is being said, but it's also that in order for us to continue this work, we really do need that funding. So I wanted to ask you, Josh, what your thoughts are.
Yeah, no, I think with that said, we continue to break records on our fundraising, and I think people are continuing to do a better job. Almaz, I mean, you lead this whole program in terms of building the right partnerships. I think the one thing we're trying to do is basically, as I said earlier, continue to grow our network within the diaspora community, which is the participation, the activity that needs to happen within the community. But also, I think our diaspora community is capable of managing all of this on its own. It's I recently made the comment that if all the diaspora community that have great jobs, that have done incredibly well here in the US, contributed $1,000 each, that's close to $2 billion. It's that simple in a sense that when you think about, we're not looking for someone to come in and save the organization or give millions of dollars. We're talking about small contributions that actually, for people that have been successful in the US, for example, as a starting point, and then you go to Europe, you go to other parts of the world, it's a significant community that's very capable. This is a community that's sending over $100 million every year to their families into the continent. So the question becomes, how do you actually get to participate with small donations of the diaspora community? Because we can always ask other organizations, corporations, but we need the diaspora community to be the first one to contribute to what they want to accomplish in the continent, whether it's through partnership with ADN, it's through investments into startups and other communities within the continent. It's also just building partnerships and mentoring entrepreneurship in the continent. So I think it's going to be very important that we continue to build our network, but also we ask the diaspora. It's easy for us to call other people, but the diaspora needs to be the starting point. You have to, well, it's almost like show me your money. It's like show me the money. I think that's an important part. If the diaspora community participates into helping startups, helping beyond remittances, beyond their families. And by the way, we are not asking anybody to do charity work. It's great in terms of charity work, and I'm not trying to say anything bad about it, but we want the diaspora actually to invest into the continent. We want the diaspora to invest into their community in the continent, and that's an incredible way to get started because everything else will follow. Today, we rely heavily on nonprofits and other corporations to continue to support us, but our goal is going to end up being to mobilize the diaspora community in terms of being able to fund our activities and also the activities that need to happen in the continent.
Josh, thank you so much. Really appreciate all of you. Before I end my part of the agenda for now and give it to Omolayo, I want to thank you for your insight and support to ADN. I don't think we could do this on our own just by sheer passion and commitment. I think you need more, and that's why you all have been such an incredible part of ADN and my journey, and I'm so grateful to all of you. Can I also take a moment to tell you one thing that is a joy and beautiful, and we're a family. So I want to say congratulations to Megan Hansberger, who actually, when she was expecting her beautiful baby Grace, she just had this baby less than 10 days ago, was working on this whole impact report. Every single aspect of what you see right now, she worked with me to make it happen when she was pregnant and waiting for the baby. Megan, we love you, we thank you, and I cannot wait to meet Grace. I say this now because I have no idea when Megan will actually go out to feed her baby, but I just wanted to say we now have another addition to our family, and her name is Grace Diana. Or Susanna. So congratulations, Megan.
Thanks, guys.
Congrats, Megan.
Congratulations, and thank you for bringing Grace with you. Thank you so much. Okay,
Oh.
Omolai, it's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Almaz, and thank you to Rick and Josh. It's great to hear from your perspective as well, what ADN is doing well, what it would look like for us to grow even further. I know that's something that we're all passionate about because we're all passionate about what the diaspora can do collectively. And so my part of the agenda is to tell you the impact that we've made. We're running a little bit behind schedule, so I'm going to yield my time so that the entrepreneurs will have more time. So I'll just give you a brief highlight, and then I'm going to call my panelists onto the screen so that we can really hear from them about, the work that they are doing on the ground. So ADN this year, we're very excited. My team is going to share the impact report in the chat. We've had an incredible 2024. We launched our 5-year strategic plan, and we are working really hard towards the ambitious goals that we have developed for ourselves. And so already across our pillars, and I'll just talk not just in 2024, but since ADN's founding, we have supported and trained over 163 different entrepreneurs from across Africa and in the US, Black and African diaspora entrepreneurs in the US. So that has been incredible. In that time as well, we've been able to award them, thanks to our generous funders like USADF and Mahakama Foundation, we have been able to award them with over $1.04 million, which is absolutely incredible. And like I mentioned earlier, they've been able to use these funds to expand their production lines, hire new people, and just make incredible impacts in their communities. There's a lot more that I could get into, but in the interest of time, I'm just going to jump right into our next panel. But please, I encourage all of you to read our impact report, learn about all the different ways that ADN has grown and impacted the diaspora community and the African continent in 2024 and since our founding in 2010. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our panelists. All three of my panelists are entrepreneurs of ADN's program. So I'm going to start with Christopher Bennett, JD MBA. He is the founder of TILR. He is a 2023 ABLE alum, and he runs a social impact law and technology startup. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Amalaya.
Thank you so much, Chris. Okay, so our next panelist is Sister Rose. She is a 2022 Start Your Social Enterprise alum and the co-founder of Mother Kevin Providence Social Enterprise. And she's also a Builders of Africa's Future alumni. Thank you for joining us, sister.
Thank you.
Okay, you're so welcome. And our final panelist is Matthias Charles Yabe, who is a 2023 Builders of Africa's Future alumni and the founder and CEO of AkoFresh. And Matthias told us earlier that he's actually dialing in from South Korea today. Welcome, Matthias.
Thank you so much for having me.
Brilliant. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. So I just want to hear from each of you individually, what is the main thing you took away from your ADN program And then how has it affected your personal and professional life? Chris, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Thank you for that, Amalio, and it's an honor and a privilege to be here to share. I could summarize what I took away as the saying that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So when I started the ADM program, I had been incubating an idea to use intellectual property to help underserved communities create value. The ADM program, along with some seed capital, allowed me to launch a tech startup this year. And it energized us to launch our minimum viable product in summer. And we're finishing at a venture studio this year. And we'll be seeking to raise capital to scale our minimum viable product. And all of that because of going far together with the ADN community and going fast with the program of ABLE that we did last year.
Amazing. Congratulations. That's really incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. Sister Rose?
Hi, protocol observed. Allow me to thank all the partners who support ADN that enable us to come on board. And after saying that, I want to thank you for your kindness for having introduced us. I recognize my team, the BAF program of 2022, and my followers, 2023, and up to today, because I'm part of their mentors. What I took from the program of Grow Your Social Enterprise were so many, but I'll just mention a few in the interest of time. I learned good leadership, how to enter into business, how to understand what social entrepreneur is, and how can I translate my idea into action, ideation. And so, starting to understand this, we went back home and started our own social enterprise. That is Mother Kevin Providence Social Enterprise. And we also, in order to impact the community, we had to form, to get a target group. Those are the vulnerable mothers, teenage, and young people who are languishing alongside the road. We started the mindset change with the youth, then the teenage mother. We also did mental health care, and while bringing out across the concept of social entrepreneurship and business, and most importantly, as a sister, how to transform our charism and also our charity into social entrepreneurship in a sustainable way that takes care of the sisters and also the vulnerable. And so we were able to establish Mother Kevin Providence Social Enterprise. The ideas that we learn of how to do bookkeeping, accounting, networking and collaboration, how to make profit and avoid losses, and marketing strategies. All these enable us to start understanding this concept. And most importantly, the power of networking and collaboration became very strong into our lives when I closely worked with the ADN, looking at the opportunity of conferences that they bring us to interact and network with the people. This eventually made me to create some impact among some people. No wonder Mother Kevin Providence Social Enterprise was selected for marketing strategy class of Santa Clara University for case study in this Q4 ending on 5th December. To me, that is a power of network and collaboration, which I think is going to impact our enterprise and make us perform better. I have a lot to say, you have to control me.
Yes, no, that was perfect. Thank you. And congratulations on being chosen as a case study. So for those who might not know, Santa Clara University is where the ABLE program runs out of. So that's one of the connections between VAF and ABLE. And that's just really, really great. Thank you, Sister Rose, for sharing. Matthias?
Yes, I'll try and be very quick, because I think the other entrepreneurs have really touched on most of the key things. And for me, my biggest takeaway is capacity building. The need for capacity building for entrepreneurs, because usually entrepreneurs tend to focus more on developing products and developing solutions and raising funds. But one thing most entrepreneurs fail to do, and what we fail to do, is we also do not look at capacity building, how we can improve ourselves. And we only just look at how we can build successful products. But for me, I believe that as an entrepreneur, people tend to invest in you rather than the business itself. So if you're an entrepreneur and you are able to have great experience in terms of knowing how to operate your books, because of course, we often start alone, and it's very lonely before you get to hire all the big time accountants and HR. So you have to do everything all by yourself. But capacity building is something that's very critical, especially when we are starting our businesses as young entrepreneurs. So for me, my big takeaway is capacity building and the need for capacity building for entrepreneurs. That is why the ADN programs really place emphasis on trainings for the entrepreneurs, so that we're able to get access to enough resources to be able to run our businesses successfully. And because I think you can have a very good product, but then if things are not being run well in terms of how to run processes and operations, it becomes difficult for your business to be successful.
Thank you so much, Matthias, for that. And you are actually starting to answer my second question, which is that how can the ADN community support you in your entrepreneurial journey in 2025 and beyond? And what advice would you give to your fellow entrepreneurs who are part of the ADN network?
For us, it's 3 C's. It's community, because just as Sister Rose mentioned, we found that connecting with others enhances what we do. It raises awareness. The second would be collaboration, in that we do joint programs. That's how we actually reach our target audience. What we do is available to all, but we focus on communities that have not had the opportunity to create copyrights or trademarks or patents or trade secrets. And then the last but not least is capital. We're out raising funds right now. We have a minimum viable product. We have people using it. We have client testimonials, and we want to scale that and make it available to more people around the world so they can create value from their innovation and their ideas.
I love the way you structured that. Thank you so much. Sister Rose, how can the ADN community help you going into 2025? And what advice would you give to fellow entrepreneurs in the ADN network?
Thank you. You will allow me to answer that before. And before that, I have to mention a big takeaway of the award. That is 25,000 USA dollars that the ADN gave through USADF. And what did it do? We established the drip irrigation of 1 acre for horticulture. And this attracted government support for another 2 to 3 acres irrigation for hosepipe to substitute what we are doing. And we also established a hatchery. We bought a hatchery machine with its generator, because our venture is in organic poultry and vegetable, so that the farmers, the communities are able to access the poultry easily instead of importing from abroad, yet they cannot afford. So we realized that the hatchery needed a house. That money also constructed a room of 5-roomed house as we are speaking, they are roofing. One will be for abattoir for slaughtering the chicken, one room for the incubating room for the hatchery, one is lab room, then one is a data or office room. And we bought 2 computers, a telephone, and a printer. Now you can see this is from the class work. They said, how can you enter into social enterprise and then dive deep into investment? So for us, this is the direction to investment. Now we have established this investment. Now we need inputs in terms of finance and also seed money so that these investments can now start being functional to the target groups. As it is right now, we have established them. The goal are not fully being achieved because of the minimum capital that we have at hand. Otherwise, this now, let me say, how am I looking at the future? I'm looking at 2025 with great hope because already we have such a great investment on the ground that we can use our irrigation as a learning site for the community. Then they should be ready to grow more. And we look at impacting 30,000 lives of people by supplying quality products in 2025. And we look at because of minimum funds we had at hand, we skilled 140 people. So after establishing such investment of irrigation and hatchery machine on the ground, we look at empowering about 5,000 farmers in the communities to enter into venture of growing poultry so that they can improve their economic livelihood. And with so much to do, if we have money and we get support financially, we are good to go. Thank you.
Brilliant.
And
Thank you,
also my
sisters.
advice for other young entrepreneurs, then we need to be more focused, continuous commitment, and sacrificial, determined. Don't forget the power of networking and collaboration and continuous capacity building. And of course, working closely with the local and global network and government so that we keep the compliances. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Rose. Yeah, and what was inspiring about what you said is the way that you were able to take your funding from USADF via ADN, and you were able to basically double that with subsidies from the government. So looking into various pockets, that's really brilliant. Matthias, over to you. How can the ADN community support you in your entrepreneurial journey in 2025 and beyond? And what advice would you give to fellow entrepreneurs who are part of the ADN network?
All right, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity again. For me, just for people who don't really know more about my work, my work is AcoFresh. AcoFresh is offering sustainable cooling solutions, which is running 100% off-grid to help smallholder farmers extend shelf life of their crops from 5 days to 21 days, helping reduce food waste. So that is what we are working on. For me, I believe that in 2025, one thing that ADN could do is to connect us with their partner organizations that have interests in sectors or areas that we work in as entrepreneurs. I believe that that could also really help us in terms of scaling further. One key thing I'd like to highlight as well is the USADF funding, which has been really, really instrumental because when we joined, before we joined the ADN program, we were not having a new product that will scale. So on my screen now, you could see this new product that we've developed thanks to the funding from the USAID. This is a mobile cooling technology, which is going to help reduce food waste on marketplaces and farming communities. Initially, the one we built was just stationary, but then with this new funding, we are developing new products that will help like the families as well, and as well as the market women. But for me, I believe that this couldn't have been possible, and now we've really learned. This new design has also gained interest of other organizations. We are getting support from the UNDP and the government of Italy to build another one early next year. We are also getting into another solution in Uganda through an EU-funded project. So Sister Rose and team, definitely looking forward to connecting with you in Uganda very soon. And I also think finally we could consider networking events. For me, I think it's really helpful. The ADN really provides that kind of networking events, and I think that should really continue in 2025 because we entrepreneurs, we really need that platform to be able to have access to people, have access to opportunities for people to hear about our work and how they can support us further. And finally, advice for entrepreneurs. I think that as an entrepreneur, generally, you need to have faith and believe in your idea. Once you have faith and you believe in your idea, you should go ahead and work hard. Faith without hard work doesn't really make sense. So once you have faith and you believe in your idea and you're working so hard, you should really be successful. So thank you so much. I really appreciate the ADN support in helping us grow. Today it's already 1 a.m. in South Korea. I'll be receiving the Global Food Tech Award from the United Nations Industrial Development Organization for our work. So looking forward to sharing us as well. Thank you so much.
Incredible, incredible. I'm just so blown away and inspired by all of you. Absolutely agree with you, Matthias, on the importance of connection and networking because it's impossible to do this work alone. And the work that you're doing is incredible. And from each of you, the main thing that I picked up is the way that you've been able to take, whether it's something you learned at ADN or a network that you made at ADN, and then you doubled that, right? You looked for a way to maximize that, to leverage that, to grow it into the incredible impact that all of you are making. And honestly, like, I'm just incredibly inspired by all of you. And I would want everyone in the audience, not just the entrepreneurs, to take to heart some of the advice that you have shared. And please, any opportunity to connect with others and connect other people to opportunities, right? So now that you've heard what Matthias does, if you hear something that you think would be of interest to him, please find him on LinkedIn and send it to him, connect. Open doors for other people. So even if you see an opportunity that's not for you, there might be somebody else that it's meant for. So definitely, absolutely love that. Thank you all so much for taking the time to join us today, to sharing your journey, sharing your growth. I'm really excited for all that you guys are working on in 2025 and beyond. And as you mentioned, it's important to network. So I would encourage everyone who's in the chat today, please make sure that you've, shared your LinkedIn in the chat and let us know, where you're calling in from and everything like that. And so with that, I'm going to hand over the mic back to Almaz, who's going to talk us a little bit through what we are looking forward to in 2025. We've mentioned it here and there, but Almaz is going to summarize it for us. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sister. Thank you, Matthias.
I got off. There is an important person to recognize those mentors of ours. I have Brad Pat, Super Patrick, who journeyed with me with the Miller Center up to tomorrow, and he keeps updating me. My success also, he contributes a lot. I want to recognize him.
Thank you, sister. I think she kind of, we lost you. Okay, I think we got the gist, but I wanted to just, we lost her. Thank you, Omolayo. I'm gonna just give me a chance to really show everyone. You did not have a chance. If you haven't opened the year-end review, I encourage you to do so. It's really beautifully done with a lot of passion, a lot of commitment, a lot of compassion. I want to thank my team and Angela for putting this together. So you will get a lot of the work that we've done, but I'm going to take you to make sure that we recognize our partners. All of these things that you've heard today, we don't do this on our own. I want to shout out to our Executive Leadership Council, who really work with me and to give me advice and support on a regular basis. The Accelerating Black Leadership and Entrepreneurship Advisory Committee, some of them are here. I want to thank each and every one of you for shaping up the program to be what it is, not only through your time, but also your funding. The African Management Institute, you've heard Sister Rose mention the kind of training she's received that comes from the African Management Institute, our partner in Kenya, to help us with the Builders of Africa's Future and the SYSE program. Special thanks also to the Levy School Executive Center at Santa Clara University. They've been our partners in helping us put together and launch and also really sustain the Accelerating Black Leadership and Entrepreneurship. The mentors that Sister mentioned, we cannot do this without the mentors. And of course, Myriad USA, every year we do this very lavish event in New York City. Believe me, that money doesn't come from ADN, it's from Myriad, and we're very thankful to them for everything that they do. And then, of course, Arizona State University, our partnership with each one of their ecosystem partners for the YALI, the Young African Leaders Initiative. And I could go on, but at least I wanted to mention those before I share with you about what are we looking for in the year ahead. Okay, we do a lot, and I get this all the time, but we can do it because I think we have a lot of you that we can count on. I think Josh mentioned a lot on the African scientific community's engagement. This is our chance to engage the African scientists around the world. As you may know, there are more African doctors outside of Africa than in Africa. So we really have an incredible opportunity to engage not only Africans, but also Friends of Africa scientists in Europe, Canada, the United States, with those on the continent. We are onboarding some incredibly brilliant human being who's going to work with us. His name is Fredros, and we will announce him soon. So we will have another PhD student working under him to ensure that we really take care of this program as it was initiated. And we thank the Gates Foundation for giving us a 5-year grant of $1 million to make this project a reality. We also wanted to ask you to join with us at the symposium in 2025. I'm excited. It's our 10-year anniversary, and I look forward to engaging with all of you and have you with us in DC of all places. This is actually the time where we really need to come together in 2025. So I really am looking forward to being with you and in your company at the in Washington, DC. And I want to shout out again to those partners in DC for making it easy on us to really host this event, and their commitment is beyond me. The Beyond Remittances work goes on. It's now our strategic plan. It's an integral part of everything we do. So everything we do at ADN, now we see it through the lens of, can the diaspora go above and beyond remittances to really do an investment on the continent? We believe they can. We believe we can. And we will work with all of you to make all these things possible. I think that the work that we've done so far has been what it is, but it could be better. These are some plans that I'm sharing for 2025, but there's a lot more to it than just these 3 things I mentioned. The only way we can make it work is for all of you to be a part of it. And I would love to give, just briefly, if you have any questions for the next 5 minutes, if we can just stay for a little while, I would love to hear your questions. And if we can answer them, we will answer. Okay, we have Connie. Connie, is that the right way to say Connie?
Yes, it's the right way to say it. Thank you. My name is Connie. I'm calling from Annecy, France. And I represent Bite Size Capital. It is actually a small group of diaspora ladies who invest directly in diaspora businesses and Africa-facing businesses. Just wanted to, if I wanted to learn more about the overall portfolio of businesses that you guys support, is there somewhere to find that? That was my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Connie. Yes, and I'm going to ask Fatima, if you could just share at least the entrepreneurs that we support at this time. And then Connie, if you need anything else, please email us and we will be happy to have a meeting and converse with you on other items. But at least for now, you should have a chance to take a look at the Builders of Africa's Future and the Accelerating Black Leadership and Entrepreneurship, so you can see what they do, because our immediate goal is to ensure that we invest in these entrepreneurs, we support them, we really help them to accelerate with the work that they're doing.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Dr. Prosper Rezimena, and I'm all the way from Nigeria, Lagos precisely. Thank you for the invite to the ADM network. But one thing I want to know is, how do you become a full member of the organization, number one? Then number two is, my organization, Road to Recovery, we're into helping people who are living with intellectual and developmental disabilities, for children who are living with intellectual and developmental disabilities here in Nigeria, and also for seeing how we are helping people who are living with stroke, arthritis, pain, and other form of chronic illness here in Nigeria, precisely. Now, currently we're developing something that's going to empower about 5,000 Nigerian youth to get them off the street. So how do we collaborate with ADN on these services, and how can we impact more on our society? Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. I didn't hear everything, but I want to tell you, you don't have to pay for membership. You don't have to become of any, we don't charge anything like that, but our team will put in on the chat, or you can also email us to fill out the form, so you can always get the newsletter and be informed. I wanted to also encourage you to apply for the Builders of Africa's Future, because I think one way your organization, should it be qualified, can get the support and access to the network will be if you participate in our entrepreneurship program. And that program is what Sister Rose and Matthias were talking about during the conversation that we just had. It supports them to get access to training, mentoring, and of course funding. In the case of the Builders of Africa's Future, if all works out as we are expecting it to work out, we are about to bring in about 16 of them in 2025, and each one of them will get $25,000 each to support their enterprise. So I really encourage you to take a look at that. So I'll make sure that when we send the minutes from this meeting, we will ensure that each one of you will have access to our contact ADN, or be a part of the newsletter, so you can get the information on a regular basis and be able to participate. I hope that answers your question, and we will also be happy to hear from you in a different manner. You can send email to info@africandiasporanetwork.org. Thank you so much. I do have two people, and that would be, I guess, the last two questions. I'm going to ask Mary Obodo.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to start off. Can you hear me fine?
Yes.
All right. I just want to start off by thanking you so much for this call. Kind of like memorializing what you guys spoke about is the lack of exposure. I am currently creating an organization here called Nexo Africa with young professionals, and kind of echoing what you guys said is there's really truly enough money in the diaspora itself to fund Africa, but it's the lack of exposure and resources. And me and a lot of other people that I know, we're young professionals, we have the means, but we don't know how to get involved. Hence why I decided to create an organization. And we just have such an ample amount of people who want to get involved. And we want to know, how can we get involved with ADN to kind of fulfill that lack of human capital that we see to be the issue? So that's kind of like my question. How can we get involved? What can we do? The young people are ready to help, because truthfully, in order to have these kinds of initiatives continue to succeed is to be that bridge with the future and the current. So we, and me kind of as the president of that organization, just trying to understand how best can we utilize the human capital that we have to assist in really reaching the mission, which is just continue to push forward the African diaspora.
Thank you, Mary. Mary, you
Mhm.
fit exactly into the partnership that we're trying to form at AD and the network that we're trying to build. I will encourage Omolayo and team to reach out to you to take a look at the partnership documents that we have on our webpage, but also for you to read. And then if that is something that you're interested in, you should really take a look at it, and then we will have a conversation. But it is actually very important that we don't continue to create and not be able to really be a part of something. It's always easier to have the urge to create a new organization because you feel you're alone. But I think under ADN, we really have a job to do, and that is really to bring all of you in that space under the work that we're doing. And so you can utilize what we're doing to ensure that you push forward with your agenda. So thank you so much for that question, and we will definitely be in touch with all of you again. Thank you. I really love that question. Thank you. Sister Frances, good to see you. How are you?
Very good, thank you. I'm very happy to be in this meeting. I'm an alumni of Build of Africa's Future 2022. I can't go into the successes. Rose has really represented us, but we need really time to share with you so that you know how far we have gone in improving our communities. But during this meeting, I got just an insight that we could form like ADN network at national level, like in Uganda. If we could have ADN network, we meet, we share our successes, how we can improve. Then we get a strong voice at a lower level, like at a country level, so that we can move together, and the expansion of the network. Thank you. It is an insight.
Thank you, sister. We will make sure, and in fact, we hired our newest program manager to ensure that we focus on the network and supporting the network and bringing the sisters and the builders of Africa's future, all of you together, accelerating Black leadership and entrepreneurship, all of us together. I think sometimes we focus on the training and making sure that you all have the funding, but we really are trying to figure out our capacity, but also we could do this. It's not something that we shouldn't be able to do. It is something that we can do. And sister, I think this is fantastic. I also have a dream, and it's not necessarily just only a dream for all of us to get together on the continent. So we will reach out to you and we will make sure that we support you. You just send me your thoughts and then we'll figure out how to support you. Thank you, sister. Mature, do you want to go through?
Yes, thank you so much. And I think Sister Jane asked my question there too. My name is Matura Lear. I'm in North Dakota, Midwest. It's cold here, and we've been engaging here in the Midwest. We have the African Network here in Minnesota and North Dakota, and we always feel like we are a forgotten part of the United States. And I saw this on a Facebook feed, and I signed up and to learn about this great work. So my next question is, I want to be part of it, even to volunteer and contribute to whatever you guys are doing. It's a great work. And my question is, for the convention or for the gathering in DC, will it need like a registration, or what do we need to?
Well, thank you. So you're not alone. And I wanted to make sure that we provide you the same thing that I mentioned earlier. There's a partnership form that we would love for you to sign in and be a part of it. Use the resources that we have to advance the cause that you're doing. This is serious. We really need to do this. It's our responsibility, but you need to help us help you better. And I would love that for us to figure out a way to work together and make sure that you're supported. On the others, yes, the website is ready. We are going to share that out soon, probably in the next week. Really, we're trying to do a formal launch of the ADIS 25 website. Definitely, we will have you sign up and register, and it's a pretty big thing, so you will get the information from our team. I was told there's Kathy who's been trying to ask, but I didn't see your hand.
Hi, yes, it's okay.
Oh, Kathy, I couldn't see your hand. It's interesting. I didn't
That's
see
all
the hand.
right.
Okay.
That's okay. Hi, everyone. And I was just sending Matur a message. I'm based in Madison, Wisconsin, and we have an active African Center for collaboration here as well. So if we haven't connected with you in South Dakota, or I'm sorry, North Dakota and Minnesota, we should. I put a couple of thoughts in the chat, or a couple of insights, but just wanted to highlight one in terms of networks. So I know through Fatima's work, and we've connected, that ADN is building a very close collaboration and opportunities with the YALI Alumni Network and all the partners globally. I am a contract liaison officer with the State Department for the IVLP program, the International Visitors Leadership Program. And I don't know if ADN has partnered with the IVLP network, but whereas YALI is emerging leaders, IVLP participants are mid-career professionals, so typically 35 to 45 years old. And this is the oldest international exchange program. So there are thousands of IVLP alumni that are on the African continent. And then the US-based partners who implement IVLP, they connect through a network called Global Ties US. And this, especially when you were talking about your annual meeting this year being in DC, I was thinking of the national programming agencies, of which there are 9, all based in the sort of DC, metro area. But then there are 100 community-based partners that are in every one of the 50 United States. And this could just be a really incredible way to build diaspora connections. So I would be more than happy to share some ideas. Global Ties does have their annual meeting in February. I put a link in the chat. They do have an expo and a tabling, which would be a way to really connect with those partners. I don't know if that's something that ADAN would be interested in, or even having someone attend. But just a couple of thoughts from my perspective.
Thank you so much, Kate. Oh, we are interested, and we will reach out to you via email. It's much easier for us to continue that conversation, because I think you said a lot of different things that fit with what we're trying to do. And then in terms of how we make that possible, I think it's a conversation that we need to have. I want to emphasize the importance for ADN to build this network. In order for us to build the network, then we really need to bring many of you as intentional collaborators, that ecosystem partners that we're trying to build. And so everything that you've mentioned, what Matur mentioned and others, is really, really critical to what we're trying to do. So we can't do this without you. The only way ADN can succeed is when we bring the people, the very people who can really create that ecosystem, also succeed. So we will be here to hear your opinions and also really make sure that we support you. So thank you so much, Katie. We are at the end of the event. I want to thank each and every one of you. I also want to really remind you that the work we do cannot be done without funding. I mean, it's this conundrum. We all have this passion to do good things, but if we don't get to be funded, we can't do it either. The one thing that I know my board say all the time is we don't ask for money. We never do, really. I'm not kidding you. We don't. But we do once a year during Giving Tuesday. We really, really bombard everyone, whether it's $10 or $10,000. For us, it means everything. I really would encourage each and every one of you to think about ways to support ADN. I'll ask my team to engage you in the Giving Tuesday. We do have a link that we would love to share with you. Please share it also with your friends. Take a look at the impact report. We can still do more, but I think what we've done so far is what has brought us this far, and it will also take us further, but we can't do this without you. As I am grateful to you, to the team that has made this possible, and to everyone else who's going to support us and be a part of our network. It's also our job to support you. And so you just have to help us help you better. And we don't do everything perfect, but we try to do as much as we can to ensure that we live our words and we make an impact in our community. I'm very thankful to the Builders of Africa's Future participants, Accelerating Black Leadership and Entrepreneurship, the funders, our board members, our ecosystem partners, the mentors, and everyone else who makes ADN possible. Thank you, and I wish you a wonderful day, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you. Good evening and good
Being
day.
here, everyone.